podcast called Dub Jellison Podcast.
First ever type 1 diabetic in UFC history.
Doing fine, Dub. Nice to be with you.
Get out!
He's like, yeah. My tunnel vision and my periphery, I'm like off field.
Hey, you know how it is, though. Hey, when your team.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
What's up, everyone? We're back with another episode of Dub Jellison Podcast. And we have a very special guest for the third time appearing on the Dub Jellison Podcast, Mr. Knockout Adrian Yanez. Adrian, how are you?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on again, man. It's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for coming on. I mean, obviously you just got back from training with Aljo at Serra-Longo and everything with that. I mean, how was that relationship started, and what was the communication like for you to go out there?
Man, honestly, it was I've noticed that Aljo is taking like looks at me from even before, saying that I was good. I'm a guy that has like a lot of potential and everything. So it kind of started there. I reposted him saying like, hey, you know, you got the big eyes watching you. So it started off like that, and then also like, you know, I would see a lot of people give him some hate and grief, and I'm just kind of just like, you know, I get it, but then I don't get it. Like it's I don't know, it's just too much. It's like some people are take it a little bit too far and are just like blatantly idiots. But what's it called? It was honestly right after like he just noticed and he just hit me up and was just like, hey, like because he was still at the time he was still fighting Petr Yan, so he wanted to bring me out just to get some looks from a high level boxer. So I pretty much was just like, yeah, no problem. I have no problem going, and pretty much that's just how like that even started. Like it was like little you know, even before that, it was just like kind of like, hey, keep doing your thing, that type of stuff. But once he hit me up to go train, I was like, yeah, 100%. Like I got the champ wanting to fly me out to go train. I think that's pretty cool, just to see, because man, like when you get to go out there and train with the champ, you get to see a lot of things. Like it's like you try to look and you try to take what you can, try to see and take, like not like in like, oh, I'm fighting him soon, but as in like you got to see what to add to what you need to start doing, you know, and from what he's doing, what you're doing, like kind of compare how they go about things and all that. So it was really cool just to even just had that experience. I know he was I know whenever I was over there, man, it was just a lot of high level wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and I was really impressed, and I was like, and I really loved the environment too, because it just wasn't just like it was just a whole different environment. It was pretty cool, man. It was really, really cool. So yeah, and honestly, man, I kind of want to go back, honestly.
I mean, hey, maybe next time he fights, I'm sure it'll be early next year. Probably fly you out again, but yeah, I mean, I think you guys had connected before this, but the last time I had you on, we were talking about Aljo, and I posted like a clip of it, and he retweeted it, and he said some nice things about you. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but I'd seen you guys kind of communicate with each other a little bit on social media, so seeing you go out there, I thought it was super cool. Yeah,
man, it really was, man. Just because, like, also I'm still fairly new in my UFC career, man. Like, everybody's already talking about me to be in like the top 15, and I'm still early on in my UFC career, man. And I still have a lot of things to learn. So being able to go up there and train with like the champ is like pretty much like really good for me at this point in time. Because man, I'm here for a long time. I want to be here for a long time, man. I want to stay there, and I definitely don't want to lose. So I'm trying to take everything that I can, you know, make it run with it and go with it, man. So being here for a long time.
I mean, what did it feel like to get that kind of recognition and love from, like you mentioned, the UFC champ?
Man, it's still super cool, man, because it was like it's something that I kind of already envisioned with me and my past coach. Like we envisioned a lot of this. It was weird because, you know, he was like, nah, the champs are gonna be calling to bring you out to train with you. If not, we're gonna go to them. And it pretty much was it just panned out the way it's supposed to, the way we thought it was gonna go. And, and also too, I was talking to my training partner, and he was just kind of just like, it was smart for him to bring you out there, especially if he was going to be fighting Petr Yan, because we have similar styles. There's differences, but the styles are pretty similar at points. So, but at the same time, getting the recognition, man, that's pretty dope, man. It was really, really dope. And just being able to go out there, seeing all the high level guys on the mats, was really fun. And it was really great.
And then it really looked like you got embraced by the whole team over there and had a really fun time out in Long Island.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely. It was I already had this predetermined thing in my head with New York, because anytime you hear New York, you hear like people are jerks, people are assholes, and all that stuff. But man, I had the complete opposite. As soon as I landed, as soon as I got there, I met Stephen Lee, and he was a really good guy, really, really great guy. I like that guy a lot. So going out there and meeting Pumi, he's a CFFC champ. Man, working his ass off, man. That guy's good. That guy's really, really good. If you didn't see his past title defense against the guy who was in the Contender Series, man, go back and watch it, because it was pure domination. The wrestling that he has, and then the top position, and the in and outs just on his feet. He's really, really good. And man, it was fun, man. It was really, really fun going out there, because just being around that environment too, man. Like going up there and just even having the little history with Ray Longo, because Ray, as soon as I got there, on Monday, I didn't see him Monday morning, but I saw him Monday night. And like as soon as I walked in, I see Ray Longo. I went to introduce myself, and he just starts talking to me about my coach and showing me the picture with him and my coach. And I was just like, wow, like that's amazing. Like at a point where I was like, man, I don't know, it felt like destiny for a weird reason. It just felt like I was destined to be there for that time, and everything was kind of needed. And then even then, like that Friday, whenever I got to talk to Matt Serra, and Matt Serra was talking to me about my coach, I was like, man, like I don't know, I just felt like, yeah, I felt like that's a second home to me. So I really want to make sure I go back and like make sure that I keep going back, because those guys are good, man. They teach high level, and I really want to work more. I really want to work more. I really want to learn more, and those guys have a lot to offer.
And I mean, you mentioned your coach. I don't want to touch. I mean, I'm sure you've talked about it ad nauseum, and you guys are still going through the grieving process. And first of all, I want to say I'm sorry for your guys' loss. But how are you and the rest of the team kind of doing in the weeks and months following his passing?
And it's been hard, man. It really has been hard. Yeah, I'm not even gonna front about it and be like, no, I'm all good. No, it's been hard. If there's one thing I'm gonna be about this, is gonna be 100% honest. It's been hard, but honestly, I've seen a lot of these guys. They have their ups and downs, just like you're supposed to have during these times. And the fact that everybody's still coming together and everybody's still showing up to train, everybody's like doing the right things and coming up and showing up, and still wanting to move on with fighting and move on with everything. Like it's showing nothing but positive impacts, because they're trying to have his legacy, like they're trying to solidify the legacy, of him, because at this point, that's all we really can do. Just live in his memories that we have with him, continuing the legacy that he had built for us. He had set for us, actually, because he pretty much planned everything, how I was going to get into the UFC and everything, and just how everything has panned out. It pretty much went exactly how he said. And with all these guys, man, he's told me a lot about a lot of these guys, and pretty much panning out. Everything's still panning out the way he's thinks it's going to go. So man, it's still cool. It's still cool, because then even right now, like I said, like going up to Ray's and Matt Serra's, man, the Longo Serra treatment, man, dude, I thought, I was like, man, that guy, when Ray showed me that picture, I almost, like, I had to take a second, because I was like about to cry, and I was like, I can't cry in front of the whole gym. I can't do that. But no, it's cool, man. It, like, small things like that make the biggest differences to me. And I don't know, like it's been hard, but also at the same time, he's still he's still with us.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. I mean, obviously a legend of a human being. By all accounts, he's a phenomenal person, and I mean, the UFC did a little tribute for him, and I mean, other fighters have kind of voiced their thoughts about him and kind of shown you guys support. So I think that's really special as well.
Oh yeah, man. It's been great, man. Just seeing the recognition, because that was my biggest thing coming up. Is I always told him, because my coach, you probably wouldn't have known a lot of the guys that he's coached or even cornered in fights and everything, and like just the path that he walked, he would never let you know. And I would always tell my coaches, like, whenever I get there, you're gonna get the recognition. I swear, like whenever you're there, you're getting all the recognition. You're not gonna hide behind the camera. You're not gonna be hiding behind everybody. You know, I'm gonna make sure that everybody knows who you are. And I was able to do that. I was able to do that. And then just with the plethora of fighters that you saw coming out, just giving thanks and everything, you know, everybody, you know, had something great to say. Like whenever he was cornering Tito Ortiz, Rico Rodriguez, man, like a lot of people don't know, but he was also in Chris Cyborg's camp for that title run from Invicta to from the Invicta to the UFC. I think the only fight he didn't go to was whenever she fought Holly Holmes. But yeah, he was like the head coach for Chris Cyborg at that time. And yeah, like he had a lot of guys, even Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping was like on the Ultimate Fighter. He was able to talk to him. Michael Bisping actually like was thanking my coach whenever we went to the contender series photo shoot, like not the photo, the photo shoot where they do the interviews and all that stuff. He walked up to my coach and was so like thankful, because he was like, you believed in me from the very beginning. You told me I was going to be champ, and I became champ. And that was really cool. That was really cool to see, because it was me and my training partner there. My training partner, Jacob Silva, when we were there, we see a coach, and he's talking to Michael Bisping. And Michael Bisping's just saying, thank you, man. You told me I was going to be champ, and I became champion. You know, you believed in me. I was like, thank you. And, you know, it was really cool. It was really cool to see all that.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely amazing. I wanted to kind of transition to, you kind of mentioned it earlier, the buzz around Aljamain and all the hate he gets and everything like that. I mean, do you think that it's unfair for all the grief that he's gotten over these past however many months?
Yeah, I think it is kind of unfair. It is pretty unfair if you're asking me, because man, it's a neck injury. It's a neck injury that's messing with his nerves, that actually and overall is messing with his body functionality. You know, like if you're grinding for 4 weeks, you know, you should be able to reap the benefits, especially with knowing how Aljo is and how he sets it. Like now, like after the past week, looking at that, I'm just like, oh, like he tries to take really, really good care of himself, and he makes sure that he does everything right. And for him to not be able to reap the benefits of all of it, because his body just isn't working with him, and his like the nerves, something with the nerves, and just everything just kind of messing with him. That man, like I think he has gotten a lot of like the unfair backlash, because if this was anybody else, they'd be you know, being like, oh man, nah, that sucks. Everybody be crying for him. But since it's Aljo, everybody's putting the clown emojis, everybody's doing that, you know, so it sucks, you know, it sucks. But also at the same time, Aljo doesn't care about any of that. So that was one thing whenever I was down there. When I was down there, he thrived in he thrived off of making people like not like him. So that to me, that was pretty cool. He's a really cool guy, man. So like, and he's really genuine. So whenever I was talking to him, I felt that he was really, really genuine on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be funny if he turned heel real quick.
I really wish he would. I really, really wish he would, because after you get a pretty good grasp of somebody whenever you're with them, like almost 24/7. And literally, I was pretty much with him. Like we were driving together to Serra's. We drove together to Longo's. Like we would like go back and forth, and we spent a lot of time with each other. So like I'm like, man, you get a pretty good grasp. If you don't know that person a little bit by the time you're done for that week, then you know you just didn't pay attention. And I paid attention. He's a really genuine guy, and and whenever we were talking about everything, he was like, nah, I could hear it in his voice being like, no, I would like, it sucks that Cory Sandhagen is going to get to fight him because he has a really good chance of beating Petr Yan. And he's like, I wanted to be the first guy to give him that loss in the UFC. I could hear it in his voice. So I'm bummed for him, but also at the same time, I look at it and I'm just like, he made the smart decision. He made a super smart decision because, man, like from what I was hearing from Serra-Longo and all those guys, he was depressed. He just didn't look like himself and everything. So it was just, it was good to see him. It was good to see him in a happier place.
Most definitely. I think a lot of that kind of that backlash and all that shit, I think just because of the way he won the title and then carrying around the belt, which I think it was mostly like a joke, messing around, like especially like right after the fight. So I think that all kind of plays into it, and then but it's unfortunate. I'm a big fan of Aljo, so. But I mean, you mentioned that title fight between Yan and Sandhagen. That's going to be a banger. I mean, what do you think about that one?
Man, it's because before I took off to New York, because we had set it a month before. We had set the date the month before because before Aljo pulled, I was studying a lot of Peter's, like how Petr fights and everything, and I was like, all right. I was really studying. I was really studying because I wanted to give Aljo a really good look of how I think Yan is gonna fight. And pretty much whenever I was in there, I was just looking. I was like, damn, like I see, like just looking at that fight, I was like, me against Petr would be fun. Me against Petr would be fun. Just looking at the way he fights. But oh man, I think Cory Sandhagen is a really dangerous matchup for Yan. It's not going to be easy. He's light on his feet. He moves around. He throws some dangerous things. And man, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Cory Sandhagen gets the win. If I'm being 100% honest, he's good. He's really good. Petr Yan, he just puts up his high. He's really well. He's really well at adjusting. You know, if you give him into the third, fourth round, Petr Yan usually starts switching some things up. He starts seeing things. He starts seeing the openings. But you know, you can't really be a slower starter against someone like Cory Sandhagen because he's off the jump. He's in your face. You know, it's gonna be it almost be like how Aljamain Sterling was in that first round with Petr. Petr, like he was pretty much almost hitting Yan with almost everything in that first round. Just the thing was like, it just wasn't able to keep that up, and just like once you start mixing in the wrestling on that, oh, that's a different type of cardio, man. That'll drain you really quick. And man, Cory Sandhagen can do that for 5 rounds. You shoot, man. He'll do it all day, every day. That's just the type he is. Because he won't shoot either. He'll just try to outstrike you the whole entire time. And I think it's easier for you just to be a striker, than being a striker and a grappler. Because man, once you start inserting the grappling portion and then you don't get it, man, that blows out your arms and everything, and it just makes it harder for you to throw punches. So, man, I feel like this is a really good matchup for Cory, and I wouldn't be surprised if I see him win.
Yeah, neither would I. I mean, the only thing that gives me pause though is that fight with TJ. I mean, obviously it could have gone either way, but I think there's a good possibility of it looking a lot like that fight as well.
Yeah, to me, big possibility. But I also think, well, you know what, Yan does have really good wrestling. He does have good positioning, but I don't know. I think for him, I think the entries on the into the wrestling aren't as good as someone like Aljamain's or TJ's. That I think Cory would be able to keep it at distance.
Yeah.
And that's where Yan is going to have a lot of his problems at, because Cory's long. He doesn't mind throwing the knees. He'll fly and knee you, whatever you want. So whatever he wants to do, he'll probably do. And especially the way that Yan kind of keeps a high, tight guard. You know, I know what I would do on the high, tight guards. So I think Cory would have an idea of what he want to do.
I mean, you look at that logjam at the top of the division with like Aljo, Jan, Cory, TJ, who's going to be out for however long, probably gets a title shot when he's ready to come back. And then you got Aldo and Font. They're all there for a title shot. I mean, that's absolutely insane.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's absolutely nuts.
I mean, how much does that excite you to know that? I mean, you're a bantamweight, obviously, and you guys are the best, arguably the best division in the entire UFC.
Man, it really excites me just because, like, man, you beat those guys, you're the top of the top. I don't want to be that guy that like rules a division that is pretty weak.
Mm-hmm.
Like like right now, I don't want to say it is, but like the only other division that's probably like that right now is probably the light heavyweight division. That would probably be actually it would probably be the 125 division female for Valentina.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's running like being so run. Like I want to be known as the killer of the killers. And the 135 right now, if you're the champ, you're the killer of the killers. Like you're that guy, because all those guys can easily be taken out. Like it's pretty much like if you have one slip up, you're out. So to me, I really like that, and it really excites me because, man, like all those fights are tough matchups. And all those guys right there, man, I would want to fight. Like Aldo, just because he's a legend. Like I would absolutely love that fight. Legend. I look up to him, and then also like he's the way I start off my fights is I kind of ripped it off of him. Like it's gotten way more comfortable for me, but like that's how I start my fights with my arm swinging down and everything. And then Font, I just think that would be a great matchup because I think that's a fun matchup, stylistically, at least for me, you know. But also Jan, those guys are fun fights. All the three guys I named are really, really fun fights. But also, the top 15 itself is still pretty much almost like a logjam itself, because then you got people like Ricky Simone, Marab. You got I think Cody Stamann is ranked. I'm not sure anymore, but you have Chito Vera. You got all these other guys. You got the guy that just signed to fight Sean O'Malley, and then you also got Sean O'Malley. Like, there's a lot of guys. This division is super stacked, and honestly, man, it's exciting because, man, you're in the top 15. You're the top. You're the top of the top. Even in the top 25, you're the top of the top.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of it, shoot, like it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun working up there.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. I mean, speaking of that, obviously you got your next fight November 20th against Davey Grant. I mean, what do you like about this fight stylistically?
And I really like it because it's gonna be one of those fights where I had to stay technical throughout the whole entire time. I can't give up 1 inch, because look at somebody like Jonathan Martinez, who whenever he fought Davey Grant, that first round I felt like was really, really lean towards Jonathan Davis and Jonathan Martinez, my bad. And that fight was, to me, I thought Martinez won that first round, and then all of a sudden, next you know, he starts getting a little bit more complacent, starts like looping shots instead of keeping straight shots, and you know he ends up getting caught by a wild hook. So you got to stay technical against Davey Grant the whole entire time. Just even look at his fight with Chito Vera. He was, even with the tight guard that Chito was having, he still caught through on a couple of those. So you got to be really, really technical and stay on your P's and Q's against someone like Davey Grant. And you also can't forget he's also really good on the ground. So you have to make sure that you're ready for a shot, you're ready for the boxing, you're ready for the kicks, you're ready for the shots. And me, I'm gonna be looking to put his lights out every single time he comes in.
Yeah, it's not surprising at all. I knew you were going to say that. I mean, how do you see it? How do you see it playing out in a perfect world for you?
In a perfect world for me, I get a first round knockout. That's the absolute perfect scenario for me. First round knockout. But I know how tough he is. I know he's gonna go in. I don't know if he'll be a little bit more reserved on his end, because I am coming off of like 4 straight knockouts, like Contender Series, my debut, my fight against Gustavo, then my last fight against Randy. That, hey, like I'm that guy that's gonna be able to put your lights out. So he might be looking at that, might try to switch his game plans a bit, but also he's also doesn't care. So he wants to go in there and try to knock your head off or try to take your head home or, take your arm home. So to me, I just got to be ready. And whenever he comes in, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, I kind of see this being a second or third round knockout.
All right, it's a future prediction. I mean, this type of fight, you and Davey, you both don't care at all, and you guys are both game and savages and got heavy hands. I mean, it was like that fight against your last fight against Randy. I mean, obviously everything that was kind of going into that fight with the playful trash talk and MMA Twitter and everything. I mean, what was that fight like to come back and get that finish?
Man, I was calling it from the very beginning. From the very, very beginning of that fight being announced that I was going to get that second round knockout. But also, I didn't expect for him to come out the way he did either. But the way I predicted it is the way I thought it was going to go. I thought I was going to do it a lot cleaner. I thought I was going to make him miss a lot more shots. But for him to come out the way he did and, kind of change my plans a little bit, it did a lot. Like it did absolutely a lot for me because, man, that boosted up like what I do and what we do, and like it maybe actually like help me get into my next contract and my next UFC contract. So man, it did a lot for me. It did well, and just being able to reap the benefits of that fight. I personally didn't like the first round how it went, but the second round went exactly how I wanted it to go.
Yeah, I mean what was going through your mind like when you're on the stool in between rounds? After that first round, you got hit with some clean shots, and now you're like, all right, I'm gonna put it on this dude, and then you go out and get what's going through your mind like in between that round and like at the beginning of the second?
Oh yeah. First and foremost, I don't sit down on stools. Second, I went back into that corner and I was like kind of really like upset with myself because I was just like, I was just like, I'm better than this. I'm better than that. Like, man, like, I got to get it. I got to get it going. I got to get it going. And then my training partner, Leo, who knows how I fight, he knows how good I am. So he was just able to calm me down for a second and just like, be like, hey, you got it. Now you got like, we make these small adjustments. And I was like, all right, cool. Going into that second round, I just, like, I remember just looking up before I started, I was like, I saw all the blood on me. I was like, nah, fuck this. I was like, oh, no, fuck this. I'm going after this guy. So as soon as that round started, I was like, nah, I'm gonna push the pace now.
Fair enough. I mean, how did that performance compare to your previous 3 fights on this amazing streak of 4 straight KO wins?
Man, it's honestly, that one, it ranks high because it showed not just to everybody that like, hey, like you're gonna have a hard time putting this dude out, and then also at the same time, it's gonna be a tough one when you don't. And as soon as I see you take that deep breath, I'm to go. So it ranks really high because, man, a lot of these guys know now that I'm not going anywhere.
And then last question for you. You mentioned that new contract. What was it like to receive that new 4-fight deal with the UFC?
Man, it was dope. I just seeing that contract and just like seeing something new. I was like, man, like, because I always kind of prided myself on seeing, because I always prided myself off of like what Michael Bisping used to say a lot. A lot of people work really hard just to get here, but they fight just to get here, not to stay there. They get that whole like, oh, I'm in the UFC. I got in the UFC. I fought in the UFC. But man, a lot of people really don't know how hard it is to work to even just stay there. And the fact that I'm there and I'm staying there, it just shows a lot. And now I just got to keep continuing on that path of like staying there. Because man, you can't get complacent, because most of these guys that like, you just want to be a UFC fighter and you get complacent, you get knocked off really quick. So that's my point, is I want to be here. I want to stay here, and I'm going to make sure that I get up into the top 15.
Most definitely, man. And I'm so excited to watch your upcoming fight on November 20th. I'm excited to watch the rest of your career. I'm sure we'll sit down and I'll have you back on again soon. But best of luck next month, and stay safe.
And thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.